I'm looking to fill the team with guys that are all about the team. Teamwork's super important to me. Being willing to sacrifice for the team, die for the team, move in first for the team. Um, not play for stats. That's super important. To be honest, I think a lot of qualities that I'd look for in a pro Valorant player would be similar to Counter-Strike, if you want to know the truth, and not to compare the games because they are completely different games in a lot of different senses. But I'm looking for good communication. I'm looking for good teamwork. Looking for good attitude. I think all those attributes cross game, and they're super important.
We also looked for a player to be versatile because we want to play as many as possible agents on each player and to be able to change them on certain maps. For example, we want to be able to play Ascent with 2 different compositions, so people can't read us that easy.
But on top of that, I'm looking for awareness. I think Valorant's going to be a game where you're super aware of like what abilities your teammates have up. You're super aware of the communication that's going on around you. Counter-Strike is more simple in those terms, and not to say Counter-Strike's a simple game. I know some people are gonna attack me for that one. I'm a Counter-Strike fan, always have been, but there's mollies, there's nades and flashes. In this game, you got different abilities on different agents. It's just it's more broad. You really got to be aware of what they have up and what nades they've used, and it's not there's flashes on one agent and stuns on the other, and I just think there's more to track. I think some early steps a person could take to really just kind of understand the difference between like a competitive ladder online and actually scrimming and playing in tournaments is hopping in some scrims, finding like 5 like-minded people that are at similar skill. Get some people together and scrim, and I think people realize it's a completely different game when some of these abilities start syncing up as like a 5-man crew.
You can just find like 4 friends and start playing as soon as possible. Let's say it's better. So just try to find a group of friends, form a team, and sign for some tournaments and play.
You and a friend in a pub syncing your abilities together is completely different feeling than having your bomb site or whatever you want to call it, spike site, attacked by an entire team that's coordinating 5 different abilities at you at the same time and stuff like that. It's a completely different feeling, and it's a different game if you want to know the truth. Having played and experienced both myself, I think the game's really unique in that sense, and we're really going to get to see different combinations of how 5 people can work together, and that's exciting to me.
If you are just starting, of course, to watch pros, how they are playing and how they approach the game, to play as much as possible matchmaking, to have some daily routine, like aim routine, for example, in aim lab.
In general, having aim lab it's super invaluable for me as a coach because one, it gives a piece of software that my players can get consistent practice on. I know when they go in, they're going to be under the same sensitivity. They're going to be, doing the same type flick shots and getting the same micro movements in to where, they're nice and warm and heated and ready to go before any match or practice. But 2, as far as scouting, it allows me to kind of sort through some of the data that's at hand and kind of get to the nuts and bolts of the players I'm interested in. And I think that's super valuable. I don't have to waste my time looking at players that, I know are not going to be a good fit for my team. And it's an invaluable resource for me. It just saves a lot of time.
You can see how fast is someone, how precise someone is in aim lab. You can always practice in aim lab and after that go in Valorant and try to use same things there, because in Valorant it's really hard to go and just practice flicks or practice tracking or something like that. You need like few hours to do something like that, to kill 200 targets or something like that, and in aim lab you can do it in like 10 minutes. So I think that's the really cool thing about aim lab.
I think analytics and data are definitely the future. I'm not saying esports is 100% there yet, but I think in combination with old school traditional scouting, having an eye for talent, being able to look at a player and understand what they're capable of very quickly, I think still has it's the whole Moneyball thing, where the traditional scouting versus pure analytics. Personally, I like to use a good mix of both. I think analytics definitely are potentially the future. But I think, like I said, there's still a place for traditional scouting, just mixing into maybe using the analytics to find, raise an eyebrow to a guy and then actually get him in the server, see what he's capable of, see what his communication's like, see what his teamwork's like. Those are things that are not really measurable currently. So I think it's important to use both. I want a role player. We're looking for a guy that can, play smokes. We're looking for a guy that can be the sentinel like Cypher, Killjoy type player, and we're also looking for like a younger DPS flex type of player that can entry, is super mechanically skilled, and is looking to have like a coaching staff and a team around him with some experience and teach him a lot about the game.